Do you feel the vibes?
What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin. I have my buddy Mitchell here, and we just wanted to just sound off about comics. We want to talk about the CW TV shows, of course, DC movies. We want to talk about Marvel, what they're doing with their shows, mainly on Netflix, and the movies. The first part of the segment, we're going to talk about DC first, because I think that's really what is currently being talked about, at least in terms of the TV shows. The movies haven't really dropped yet for either, so that's really what we had to talk about. And you say you've caught up with pretty much all the CW shows that's been coming on.
Yep, I'm caught up with everything. I'm ready to go. I think there's lots to talk about, so it's exciting.
Well, starting, we'll go by each day. Monday, of course, Supergirl comes on. Actually, not. I actually didn't watch the very last episode, so I don't know what happened.
Okay, I won't spoil it for you then.
But from what I've seen, as I talked, we talked about this earlier. We talked about this last year when, of course, season 2 for Supergirl came out. That is significantly better. In terms of viewership, it's not the same. That's obviously because of different networks. But I feel as though the show is better. It has a different vibe to it, while still, being exactly what it was in the first season. But it's less kind of, I guess, because when it was on the other network, it seemed more like they tried to do drama, kind of like the stories that come on CBS. I didn't really like it like that, so I rarely watched it when it was up there. But I've definitely seen more of season 2 of Supergirl, and I feel as though it's definitely improved, in my opinion.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It kind of felt, season 1 kind of felt detached from CW. It felt kind of, maybe the word is, I don't know, more feminine. I'm not sure.
Right there.
Yeah, it's kind of different now. I think CW's kind of taken it over. Just they try and make it more connected to the rest of their shows. It's more around the same vibe as the rest of their shows as well. So for me, I've really enjoyed the second season of Supergirl, especially the last couple of episodes. At the beginning, especially because I didn't watch much of season 1, I was just trying to kind of get a feel for the show. And as the show has progressed, I feel like it definitely, some of the newer characters have been very interesting. And I think that the action has really been a lot better as well. Like you said, it was kind of all about the drama in the first season, but this season's been a lot more action oriented, and I've liked that. But I've also really thought that this show in particular does a really good job with romance. So if you're into that as well, like it has a good mix, and I think it's, like we said earlier, it's kind of a different audience too. So it's a different audience that they have to try and get over with. So it's a good show so far. I like it.
Yeah, because they're trying to pull the people that were watching on CBS to CW.
Yeah.
Obviously on the same time, but it's it's an entirely different network. More people watch CBS than they do CW. You look at the numbers; they tell you that. And they're still trying to keep some of the things from the first season. We know these CW shows are gonna have romance. Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. It's gonna have romance. Drama's gonna be part of the story, but
obviously, yeah.
Yeah. In essence, it's still superhero movie. You want to see more action, and a big reason why I left CBS was budget. Cause I don't think it had nothing to do with viewership, but they did. I guess it was like one of their higher budget shows, just because of all the effects. All the stuff Supergirl can do. It requires I guess more money.
I also heard that they wanted to move to where I live, Vancouver. So they wanted to move to Vancouver where CW shoots. So CW, they were also shooting in LA before. So
yeah,
they had to switch that.
There.
Yeah.
So CW was like, we'll just take the show then if you're gonna want to do all that. We'll just take the show. We had a time slot for it. I think honestly, I don't think it was supposed to stay past the first season. I think because CW wanted to get the show out and they had a partnership with CBS, of course. they wanted to put at least the first season out. And at that point, CW, some of their shows some of the shows are gone that came on around that time or got moved, so it allowed them to put Supergirl pretty much at the same time while starting the season 2. So I guess kind of bringing in that audience that watched season 1. So I mean, like I said, Supergirl's been much better in terms of its second season. So it's definitely a good thing. They've been overall. I really like this season for each of these shows. Next up, this Flash is probably Flash is my favorite show in terms of overall out of all the shows that come on during the week. And I would say, as we talked about with the beginning of season 3, kind of started slow, but it's still, I want to say it's still a bit slow. But I think at this point with Wally West, he's been okay. I know during that there was a time with Cisco during this season was really annoying about the whole brother thing and with Flashpoint. And
we finally got over that. We were complaining about that actually last time we talked, so that's good to see that they turned it around. But I do want to comment on Cisco real quick, because I was actually going to bring this up. He was kind of annoying at the beginning of the season, but now he's like one of the better parts of the show, because I thought that one episode where he was prominently featured in the episode where it was mostly about him, one of the last episodes they had, was actually really good.
Yeah. And it shows you why people liked him from the start, kind of. I think it was at the beginning of the season, well, at least when Barry came back from Flashpoint, it just showed a really annoying side of people. People didn't like Cisco for that reason. He was the guy who, I guess, who was the guy that made you laugh. He comes with all the names, which are the actual names in the comics, and as a person who reads the comic, you hear him say that, and I really always liked this character, and they with that particular episode that focused on him, you saw some development with his powers. And it is showing him being one of the more powerful metahumans, out there. So anytime they show any kind of like character progression with someone like Cisco, Caitlin, I like those characters. There's not a character. Okay, there is a character that that annoys me right now.
Which one?
The HR from the other universe. I don't like him.
You don't like him? I don't know if I don't hate him, but I don't love him. I'm like in this zone. I don't know. Maybe it depends on the week. Sometimes I'm like, okay, that was a little wacky or that was a little cheesy. But sometimes I'm like, okay, I get why he's in the show and why he's doing this. But I think they kind of need to find him more of a backstory, more of a individual role, because sometimes he's just there for like you said, the comedy, or he's just there. He's not doing something. Like he did kind of have that story where he's training Wally and all that stuff, but he's not really doing anything to help the team at this point. So I want to see if he can progress that way.
Yeah, no, I would like to learn a little bit more about, I guess, his universe specifically. Talk about his backstory. I need an episode really focusing on him. Because it's clearly brought him in there. It's kind of like a guy to, add more comedic, aspect to the show, along with a guy like Cisco. You see the interaction between those two, and they're pretty good. I feel as though he's the one guy that we want to know more about him.
Because
they're already there.
Because we have seen episodes this season from all the other characters. All the other main characters have had a episode that is centered around them, except for him. So, but one good thing that you brought up was actually his relationship with Cisco, which I think has helped Cisco. If he's helped anybody on the show, he's helped Cisco, because I think Cisco's became a better character because of him being there, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, but hopefully, coming as the season progresses, they show something. They do something with him. Because they did a little something with the Gypsy episode, but they didn't really go into detail about. The reason she was there was because he was doing interdimensional travel, and he is forbidden to go to another world. So she's kind of like the bounty hunter who goes out and gets people who go to another world. And it didn't really say anything outside of that, So his world clearly is really advanced because they know about that type of travel. So I would like to see more about his world. But hopefully, they've been doing a good job of focusing on all the main characters. Caitlin got her own thing, dealing with the whole Killer Frost thing, which I really liked. And the fact that she pretty much has to wear the necklace, which it was first bracelets, now it's a necklace that pretty much.
Yeah, I like that they added that. I like that they added that just because it would have been dumb if she was just going week to week, where 1 week she would be transforming into Killer Frost, and then next week she's just Caitlin. Like, you have to have some consistency, so at least they have the necklace that contains her powers.
And even the guy that plays, the guy that pretty much alter ego alchemy. I cannot remember his name. Oh my goodness, because he's always getting into it with everyone.
From Harry Potter. Yeah.
Yeah, he's always getting into it with everyone, and I thought he had at least in the last episode when Caitlin had to use her powers to kind of keep Iris alive. I thought he had a moment where you could see kind of character growth, where he's not that douchebag who pretty much just tells people off, and that he's a character who I guess can show some compassion. And
he's generally just he's just generally a really good actor. Yeah. He's just a really good actor, but it's interesting to see what he adds to the team as well, if he's going to be a long-term kind of character on the team, or if he's just going to be for one season, because he is alchemy, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with that.
I think he's going to have to sacrifice himself to stop Savitar, because of course the whole future thing, spoilers, the whole Barry scene, and that kind of annoyed me about Barry, that okay, you've been told countless times that time travel, when looking at things in the future, is always, it's a possible future, and he seemed very naive about it, seeing that you've been told countless times, you've done things to affect the timeline. You would think he would understand it a little bit more than that. And at first, to attempt to save Iris, what they're doing now is they're trying to change certain events that I guess led up to that moment, in hopes that that moment won't happen when Iris gets killed. And he was letting villains go just because of it. It just seemed kind of weird, and it is. I mean, I understand time travel is a difficult thing to understand. But
again, Calvin, though, we were talking about this a while back, and it was just like, I think I was talking about it specifically, and I was just like, they make Flash look so dumb when he's not dumb. Even though, like, he's a really smart guy. Barry is a really smart guy. Why isn't he using his smarts more often? I think what they're trying to do is you can see him using his experience. Yeah. Like when he's teaching Wally and stuff like that, you can tell that he's obviously more experienced and he knows what to do in certain situations, but he's not using his background, his intelligence, like his science background. Like, why isn't he using that more? That's part of the Flash. It's not just his speed, right?
Yeah, I think I always thought got to a point where, because he relies so much on his ability, he never really thinks about stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe.
He usually uses a guy like Cisco or Caitlin to focus on stuff like that. And yeah, I do think he should focus more. That he's had some moments where he did focus on using his brain. Especially on moments where he couldn't. For instance, the train.
That was a really good sequence.
The whole train. That was actually a big showcase of power, because we never, at least in terms of the show, we never seen him do that. We've seen him vibrate himself, but an entire train, I thought that was a really heads up thing. He didn't know he could do it, but it was heads up thing.
Yeah, that was a really good moment.
Yeah,
just like part of it was just him doing something that he's never done before, and it was a cool showcase of his abilities, but also teaching Wally in that moment, like, you have to just do stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's how Wally's going to learn.
That was the moment Wally had pretty much first successful time of pretty much vibrating himself through something, Steven right through the guy. And overall, I think like I said, it started kind of weak with the whole Flashpoint, but then we saw it did change. It did change quite a few things. Everything with Savitar and all that. So Flashpoint did have an effect. Looking ahead, we talked about some of our grievances, but overall, I think this season is good. It's gonna get. I like Rod, so I think these next episodes are gonna be good. I want to see the interactions between Wally and Jesse, because
for sure,
first time seeing him with his powers, so that's gonna be interesting to see how they interact with each other and how both of them have their abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna have pretty much 3 speedsters in this 2-part episode. I was thinking Gorilla Grodd had went somewhere else, but it was surprising he went down Earth too. Thought he had went to.
Yeah, because we kind of left with that cliffhanger, that one episode. I don't even remember what episode it was, but it was like probably last season.
Yeah.
And they just like left him somewhere else, and you saw that he was arriving on this Earth, but we didn't know if it was Earth 1 or 2, Earth 68, like what, you didn't know. So, but one of the things I wanted to point out was, what was it? So it was on the Flash. I just feel like, damn, I forgot. Maybe I'll remember it, but it had something to do with. Damn, I can't remember now. All right, just continue on. I'll probably remember it. But I'm looking forward to the next couple of episodes because that's what it was. Okay, so Savitar. I feel like Savitar is better when he's not there. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Because
like he has that mystique about him, and he's that dangerous, entity. But we never really see him. We see him every once in a while, but he's better. He's getting better without even showing up.
Yeah.
Because once we see him again, we've had a long, long time where we haven't seen him, and we've only seen him in actually a couple of episodes. So I think it's a lot better when we don't see him, so it just builds his mystique up more and more and more. So then when we see him, we're already like really, it's just going to be a really cool moment when we do see him. So I think the show has really progressed without him and has gotten a lot better. Because in the first couple of episodes, when he was there, I felt like they didn't really know how to handle his character yet. So once we get back to him in the later in the season, I think the show will be ready for his presence, and it will be like even better because we've seen that the show has gotten better as the season has gone on, and most of the time it's because Savitar hasn't been there. So when he does come back, it should be ready for him and ready to go. And in terms of every other character, they'll be built to that point. And I'm interested to see how Wally plays into it, because he's become a real big staple in the show now, in terms of the whole Savitar thing, because now the whole game plan to take down Savitar involves Wally being fast. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and we do know he's gonna come back. Of course, if we saw the whole future thing, so we do know he's gonna be back, and I think that's the big thing of it. It's not about will he come back, it's when.
Yeah,
because it's a possible future that Barry saw, but Barry's been this whole time trying to stop it. And
it's a show. It's obviously going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah. So it's just anticipating that moment. When is Savitar going to show up? Is it this episode? Is it next episode? So I think that's the cool thing about him. And in terms of he's not on the show every week like the last couple of seasons. So I really like it. It's different, and it's hard to keep up having such a good show because we saw how Arrow fell off after season 2.
Yeah. Season 3 was terrible.
I think Flash is it's not as great, but I think it's still good. And
Yeah.
it's still a good show, and it's still a fun show. So I want to see how they handle the end of the season. And we could end up saying that it's a great season. So
I think Flash has the advantage of just having a better rogue gallery of villains.
that's true.
Because you look at a lot of Arrow's villains, he looked okay. Deathstroke, who they were that he was a Titans villain originally.
Half of them are from Batman.
Yeah, Ra's al Ghul. Who else? They had of course Boomerang that's a Flash villain. Then they had Deathstroke. Like I said, that was a Titan / Batman villain.
Well, they had Malcolm Merlin, who was.
I guess that's a guy, but he doesn't have a lot of villains in his rogue gallery, and I think it really that's what really started to hurt the series as it went later on. See, you got Flash. Flash can put villains every other episode, just showcasing a single villain, and Mirror Master.
That's the real cool part. It's almost like Spider-Man in a way. Yeah. Like how Spider-Man show, usually animation because they never had a live one, but like you'd have one episode would be this villain, one episode would be this villain. You'd kind of have like a main villain over a course of a few episodes, but never like like a whole season. And for Flash, it's you have this main villain, but there's so many different villains that he has to face, which keeps the show fresh.
Yeah.
So for Arrow, it's always that one villain they're trying to take down because they don't have all these other villains, or the other villains are just like street thugs or like general people, like drug dealers, stuff like that. I do think that the difference between the shows, like you said, the villains, and I think Flash has a better supporting cast. I think Arrow is more about Arrow himself. That's what makes the show good, is Stephen Amell and Arrow. And for Flash, it's not only the Flash, but everybody that surrounds the Flash that makes the show good.
Yeah, I think that's why. I like the majority of the Flash characters more so than I would say the Arrow characters. Because you know how I feel about Felicity, and as a series,
we'll get to her.
As the series is going on, you know how I feel about her. But like I said, Flash has been great. It's next week's gonna be the 2-parter. It's gonna have Gorilla Garage, who I want to see exactly how they do Gorilla City, because I think this is gonna be one of the more expensive episodes in terms of the CG. But Gorilla City was pretty much a place where most of the gorillas were like they're really advanced, and Gorilla Garage took it over at a time for quite a bit of time. So we'll see how he is at this point, how his character has changed, and we saw him start to change before he left, and they were able to trick him of course send him away to a different Earth. We're gonna see how things change now, because obviously he didn't forget. He didn't forget.
No,
because he captured that Earth 2's HR. As the episode ends, we see Jesse come through the portal.
Oh yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to see that.
Also, it's just to bring up, I want to see how Caitlin and Grodd, like how they exchange whatever's gonna happen. Because remember last time, the whole relationship between Caitlin and Grodd and all that stuff. So I want to see if that comes up again. If they continue that, or what's going to happen with that. Because that was a big deal for the last couple of episodes they had with Grodd. So we'll see.
Yeah, that could definitely become. I definitely want to see that. Also on Tuesday, I almost forgot, the show that got moved from Thursday, Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't like that, by the way. Yeah. Why do they have 2 shows in a row? I mean, I have to record both of them and watch them in a row, which isn't a bad thing, but I like the whole Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday thing.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, they honestly should have left it like that, and because what comes on Thursday? On Thursday, it's it's Supernatural and Riverdale. I think the Riverdale's that new show. Yeah, they probably made space for Riverdale, is why they did it. Well, they could have just played that after Flash, though. That's what they did. Yeah, maybe. Newer shows. So I do think they should have left it on Thursday, and then then put like, either put Supernatural after Flash or Riverdale. Most of the time, because Flash is their most watched shows, they usually put new shows right behind it. So, of course, people will tune into it. But I thought Riverdale should have came on that Tuesday, and then Legends should have been left on its regular time on Thursday. But, anyway, it is on Tuesday. I like this season.
I really like this season. I think this is my favorite show.
Yeah, to me, I feel as though it's had the best season out of the shows. Flash is still overall my favorite shows, and of course, when you combine all 3 seasons.
Okay. Yeah.
It hasn't had a drop off. Like, see, Legends was weak, especially the first half of the first season. Got better later on. But I think
they had to figure out how to work all those characters together, which is not easy to do. But once they got it, they got it. Yeah.
But Arrow, of course, the awful season 3 really hurt that show. Season 2 was amazing. Season 1 was really good for Arrow. But I feel as though Flash overall, to me, is my favorite one. But this season, Legends is definitely, when you compare it to the other seasons of the other shows, it's definitely the best. I like all the characters. A lot of people didn't like Rip. I didn't have a problem with Rip. My main problem was Hawkman, Hawkgirl. They're trash. I got tired of seeing them. Kind of unfortunate to see Captain.
I didn't get tired of seeing Hawkgirl.
Well, yeah, she looked good, but when she
is different.
She started to talk, like, shut up, please. Just stand there, like, just let somebody else talk. And then the Hawkman, he was an awful actor. Whoever the guy they had acting was awful.
Yeah.
So, and then they were an integral part of the first season, so they couldn't. Well, she was at least, so they couldn't really get rid of her. But once that was done, she got her out of there, replaced her with Vixen. And also replaced his name escapes my mind, but he's been pretty good.
Though that's a very good trade, because those might be my 2 favorite characters. That thing they got going on right now is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The last couple of episodes has been really good. I'm not gonna say my favorite because I think I had more favorite characters on the show, but it's been a real solid part of the show. I'll say that.
Yeah, and you've seen they've had time to focus on the characters, character growth. You had, of course, call it White Canary. That's the name she's going with. She's had some character growth ever
Sarah.
Since, ever since she's become the captain, you saw a lot of character growth. She's had to make a bunch of decisions, and she's never really been in that leader role up until now. A lot of times she either worked by herself or someone else was the leader. Like when she was with Arrow, usually it was.
She's always kind of been a lone wolf, which is different to see her now as like the leader of everybody. But she's done a really good job. Like the character's done a really good job of dealing with everything. She kind of seems like she's experienced in it, even though she's not.
So I feel as though all the characters had episodes where you saw growth. You saw the episode. What was the name of the episode? I can't remember the name of the episode, but it was when they went to. I can't remember the episode. It was I really can't.
Which character?
Everybody's name is escaping my mind right now. Wow.
Jefferson?
Yeah, there you go. It's when pretty much he...
I'm looking at the names, that's why I remember. I'm not good at remembering names.
Me neither. With Jefferson, they went back and it was the whole slave thing and all that was going on. Which, the episode surprised me that they were willing to do an episode like that.
Same.
On pretty much, it wasn't like, I guess like a different in terms of like a more mature rated type of show or movie, but obviously there were things taken out, and some things weren't said in the episode. But I feel as though you saw some character growth with him, as he was a guy who could inspire people. He was able to inspire those people there. So you saw growth with him.
And in the last episode too.
Yeah. You saw Firestorm. I don't think they've done. He's had some character. Most of his character growth to me was in season 1.
Jefferson or Stein or both of them.
No, not
or them
Firestorm.
together.
I meant Heatwave. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, most of his character development in terms of him, because he's still like a Neanderthal.
Yeah.
But he's able to tolerate him. He's willing to work as like a team with everyone else. And before then, no, the only person he will work with is Captain Cold, which
is his story right now.
Yeah.
Well, he had that whole thing where he was in his head, but they kind of got over that. Yeah. Like the thing I really like about the show, and you're bringing up all the characters, is exactly that. Is they have a story for every character. Like every character is interesting, every character is intriguing, and every episode has a different character that's featured, but it doesn't feel like it's like a letdown. I feel like the weakest part of the show was actually the villains until the last couple of episodes, which we'll talk about that. But like Stein has his daughter, which is really good. Yeah. Ray has had some moments without his suit and having to deal with all that stuff. Sarah's having to be the leader. Jefferson with the slave thing, and then also doing it, basically being featured in different roles and taking more of a leadership kind of role as well. We saw Mick. That's probably the weakest character, but he is for a reason. He's kind of just like a little bit of the comedy, that tough guy or whatever. Yeah. Rip they're having to search for him, and we've just seen him in the last couple of episodes, and now they're going to get into more intriguing things. But I've really liked him as a villain. Then we go to who else is there?
Say Vixen.
Vixen, and now we just talked about them, but they're having this whole romance thing start. Which I also thought that. What's the guy's name? I can't remember. I always forget, but he's been really good. Nate, I think. Nate, is it Nate? Yeah, Nate. He was like having to deal with. They went to was it Japan or something? They had that episode. That was a good episode.
He was kind of learning control of his powers.
Yeah, learning his power.
Because of lack of confidence.
Yeah, he's having to gain more confidence and then learning his powers. And this is his debut episode or debut season, so he's having to learn a whole bunch of different stuff, and also work with the team. So I think that all the characters have been really solid this season. Season 1, they kind of had some times where they didn't seem consistent, but now it was just a matter of getting the new villains involved, and now they've been killing it. So. It's been a really good show, and my favorite show.
Yeah, in the last couple of episodes have focused on. You saw like the Legion of Doom, of course, Malcolm Merlin, versus Flash, and Jesus. Give me a second. Can I remember his name?
What? Merlin, Flash,
Reverse Flash, and
Damien Dark?
Yeah, there you go. I don't know why these names keep escaping my mind. So many different names in my head. But
so many different shows.
Yeah, because we still got another one to talk about. I like what they've been doing, at least in the last couple episodes. We even got to see the Black Flash, who his purpose is because Reverse Flash is not supposed to exist. That's why he's hunting him. And he can literally sense the Speed Force. He's never going to stop chasing him.
Yeah. Since they added that, the show's been way better because now we understand the motivation behind
why he was kind of acting like he was all high strung and kind of blowing off the other guys, even though he was one of the ones who kind of recruited them. He's kind of blowing those guys off. Now they're working together, and I'll definitely say, in terms of just them working as a team, it's definitely improved now you want to really see what happens with everything they're trying to do. They're still trying to get the Spear of Destiny. And like I said, it started kind of weak because of them not really focusing on them. They were still focusing on the legends. But now they're focusing on them just as well. So it is definitely improved in the villain department. And one thing, hopefully they do something more with Vixen. I did want to mention this because they actually have the animated series out, which is
okay.
I think it's season 2 came out. Where does she fit into that? Because it's not the same person.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The person in the anime is Mari McCabe. That's the original Vixen. Well, that's the Vixen like they use in the comics. She's one of the more.
Don't they have 2 Vixens in this universe too, though? Or am I just losing my mind?
Nah, there's only one that Nancy told him. Nancy told him the necklace that allows her to channel different animals. Because you remember remember the episode during Arrow where Vixen was in it? That's a different person.
Yes. Ah, God.
So
that's but she's from the past though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like how she connected to the other Vixen.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the totem is like kind of like passed down. So what? Apparently she's gonna go back to her timeline because that's how the other Vixen got the totem. But,
well, she has to.
Yeah. So hopefully she stays more than just this season because she's definitely been one of the. Her and Nate have been in a huge improvement over Hawkman, Hawkgirl. Huge.
And it also like just Nate in general, his character allows them to actually add logic to the show because he's a historian.
Yeah.
So he can actually give. Yeah, he can actually give background information to where they're going. So it's like, okay, it actually makes sense that he would know about this time period because he's a historian.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, they know all this information for no reason, right? Mm-hmm. It's like actually adds something to the show. I do want to bring up one episode, the whole like Star Wars episode there, George Lucas episode. What'd you think of that episode?
I thought that was kind of funny that they did that episode, and the guy actually, like, if you look at old George Lucas picture, the guy actually kind of looks like him. So
yeah,
he looks like him. So I like that episode. It was they threw that in there. Of course, there's a little Easter egg. Oh, Star Wars didn't get made, so
yeah,
Nate and Ray didn't become a historian, one didn't become a scientist, so they were completely useless. Because of it, and you kind of saw how changes in subtle changes in the timeline. Wasn't so much subtle. Dude literally was about to die, but like changes in the timeline you see how it can even affect them. You see how much it can affect different things in the future. Yeah,
Back to the Future-esque kind of
pretty much. So the episode, just because it's a huge Star Wars, Indiana Jones reference. One guy was a fan of Indiana Jones. Nate was a fan of Indiana Jones. Ray Palmer was a fan of Star Wars. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and they had Einstein in the season. Like the thing I like about the show is just because I like history. So it's just like
they throw in different
cool
settings,
to see.
Yeah, you had like kind of like a early 1900. New York. You
had Al Capone in the show.
Yeah, you had feudal Japan.
Yeah.
You had Civil War, 1800s. I'm sorry, 1700s. You had 1960s around slave. Well, no, was that 19? No, that was 1800s. It was 1800s.
18.
I was thinking about the episodes kind of.
It was like
kind of like they had like 1940, 1950s, and you kind of saw Jefferson deal with racism in that particular episode. So you see throughout both these seasons, you see them go to different time periods, and you see how of course how they have to dress, and just how different things are in those different timelines.
Yeah.
Different timelines.
That's the cool part about the show, to be honest. Like the core focus of the show is cool.
Yeah, the settings. It's not always the same place. It's always something different. And I wonder, does this show cost the most money? just because.
In terms of effects, I would think so.
Yeah,
and then
them having to do
different settings. Yeah, probably it does. And all the different actors they have on the show.
Yeah. But next show is Arrow.
Arrow.
Huh?
I just like Arrow.
Next show is Arrow. Now, I started back watching because I'll be honest, I didn't. The season before this one, I really didn't watch it like that because I just didn't like.
I understand.
I didn't like a lot of things. I didn't like the whole Felicity has become annoying ever since. Pretty much, there was a point. There was a point during season 3. It was I'm sick of her.
I have a question for you. Is she still annoying now?
Not
for you?
Not as much. Not as much. Because you can kind of see, at least in the last couple episodes that I've seen, you kind of see that she's changing a little bit, kind of reverting back to how she was way before she met, Oliver and them. Kind of like she wanted to be the whole hacktivist thing. So you kind of see some changes. Her fighting with
At least they're giving her a story that doesn't involve Oliver.
Yeah, you kind of see now that she's kind of fighting with do you want to be like Oliver who tries to do things at this point in a certain way, or do you want to be how you used to be where you're willing to fight fire with fire to she got all the information, she's blackmailing people and all that stuff. So she's kind of fighting with that. You kind of see the different inner struggles. That's one thing Arrow's definitely always done. You kind of see the inner struggles with each character. It's just like we talked about earlier.
They've done that the best usually.
Yeah, it's psychological. They have to focus on a lot of that just because they don't have a lot of villains to throw out. A lot of times, a lot of just random fodder, thugs or whatever. And of course, you'll have your main villain being your center point.
The appealing part of the show is it's grounded more and it's more like human based.
Yeah,
it's not so superhero, superpowers,
time travel.
Yeah, that's the more appealing part of the show. Is just that in general. So,
and that's one thing that it always tried to be. It tried to ground itself more in type, kind of like realism. I guess characters you can kind of relate to. Because let's be honest, can't really relate to someone like Flash. And if you think about it,
you can relate to Barry.
You can
relate to
Barry himself. And then once you see the powers, or you can't relate to someone like Supergirl, who's an alien who's invulnerable. So they try to be that show. Oh well, okay, all these people going with. They have these different inner struggles, so you can kind of relate to them. They don't have powers, so they have to be able to deal with this. They have to be kind of patient when they're dealing with different things. You saw when he had to go to Russia, and he had to make deals, and he saw Diggle kind of wrestle with his anger, and you saw he was in there torturing that guy. It was the episode before last. I wonder where. Okay, they show Talia as like a flashback. What's the whole thing with her? Like, I wonder where she is in the regular timeline.
Yeah, I'm wondering that too. Is she with like Bruce or something? No, what's going on, man?
She never. That's the thing. She was never mentioned.
Yeah, not once.
Really, she was never mentioned. So. I'm kind of confused about it because I know when I first saw Nyssa. Okay, where's Talia? Then this when I first saw Nyssa. Now I'm like, Talia.
I was like, who's Nyssa? The first time I saw her, I was like, who's that?
Yeah, Talia's always the more
the more known one, right? Yeah, and also it's interesting because Talia actually helps train Oliver, and he's never brought that up before.
And what's weird is, I thought. He was really good with arrows when he was on the island.
Yeah, he's had like three or four different trainers. Yeah, that's kind of something that hasn't worked from season to season is him learning new skills, even though on the island it appears that both of his he learned pretty much everything he needed. So I think what they're trying to do, I didn't like the arrow part because I thought he already used arrows up until that point, like you said. But I think what they're trying to do is getting over that psychological hump of like, I can go back home and I can be Oliver and I can be the Green Arrow at the same time. Because obviously she helps him become the Green Arrow. That's probably the end of it there. So I think that's what they're trying to do, even though they kind of caught themselves a little bit with the whole he was using guns for some reason when he never really used guns before until this season.
And I understand he doesn't at that point in time he didn't give a damn about killing people.
Yeah.
As of now he was just wants to subdue him, wants to knock him out. He really wanted to kill him. He of course he heard them break their teeth, break their bones and stuff like that. But I don't know, it just seemed like all that training from the island kind of went out the window. That's just the way it seemed to me. But I think after this season, what else are they going to do with those flashbacks? Are those flashbacks done?
I think they're supposed to be done because they said that there's a 5-year plan for the flashbacks, and this is the 5th season. Yeah. Unless they start doing flashbacks of different things, like flashbacks of season 1 or season 2, like they've been doing kind of. Like maybe they'll do flashbacks of season 2 where episodes we didn't see or like stuff like that. They could do that, I guess. Or they could do flashbacks for different characters, not just Oliver, like they did this last episode, which you saw that episode, right? Mm-hmm. So I really like that, how they're trying to give different flashbacks to different characters, which I think is helping their characters, because I think my biggest complaint about the Arrow show this season is really they haven't done a good enough job of letting us know, who is this person? Like, why are these people helping Green Arrow? Why are they with Green Arrow? Like, why is his team with them? Why are they helping him? So now we're kind of getting the background stories for each of them, which is enhancing and helping the show and the team aspect of the show. Even though I think the season has actually been pretty damn good most of the parts. I just think that's been the weakest part, is trying to care for all the other characters besides the ones that we already know.
Yeah, and the new girl, her name,
the new canary.